so in this video I wanted to demonstrate my first VFX script that I've made. I call it KeyMod because it resembles the MIDI keyboard menu that you have, where you can control the pitch by semitones and octaves, and you can control the velocity curve. What I aim to offer with this script is a bit more in-depth velocity editing without having to menu dive inside MIDI keyboards and basically customizing your velocity. So in order to demonstrate that, I have a very simple patch here. It's a bass sound. It sounds like this. And it is velocity sensitive. So the velocity controls the drive of the distortion in Serum and also a low pass filter. So when you play a very soft note, you get a very soft sound, and when you play a note very loudly, you get a very loud sound. Okay, so in order to test that, I've made a very simple loop here that has the exact same velocity, so we can mess with it. Okay, so the first controls are very straightforward. You have the pitch, so you can transpose it up or down, up to an octave. And you also have the transpose octave button. So now let's take a look at the velocity. So bass offset increases or decreases your velocity by a set amount. You can pay attention to this tab here to see the velocity differences compared to what's been originally played. It can even reduce the velocity at such a level that nothing is playing. Oh, okay, maybe I fixed that so that it doesn't happen. But the velocity should be as close as possible to 0. And then you have the multiplier. So the multiplier multiplies your velocity by the set amount here. So it can go up to twice as much velocity or 0 velocity. Then you have the min and max knobs, which set the minimum velocity allowed and the maximum velocity allowed. So when I reduce this below the velocity that I played here, it's going to quantize my velocity to the highest velocity possible. So now no one can play above 0.4, which is 40% of the max velocity. We can also increase the minimum amount. Say that we're playing at a set amount here. The minimum velocity is above that amount, like so. So now, no matter how soft or loud you play, it's only going to be in between the last 10% of the velocity curve. And then there's the randomize button. So let me show you. So this button just picks a random velocity in between the min and max knobs and plays it every time you play a note. So you can play the same note with the same velocity and get different results. Now this can be a bit extreme, so you can mess with the min and max. Say you wanted to only play at a certain area. So now it's going to randomize in that area. And this allows for a more controlled result. I'm going to, for the sake of fun, keep it at 100% randomization range. So I have some drums. And already by randomizing, we get a very nice variety. But now I want to show a bit more of this script. So I have a small part from the demo that I did for this, for all of my scripts. It sounds like this. So you have both chords and a bassline. And what I wanted to show is that you can also do the same thing with other synths, chord synths, for example. So here we have the velocity controlling the cutoff of a synthesizer, and also, let's see what else it is controlling. Oh, the frequency of this filter as well. So 2 filters in one. I'm going to disconnect the script for a second just to showcase the different values that you can get. So at low notes you get a very soft sound, and when you play harder you get an open synth sound. Okay, so when we use this script, again using the randomize, you get a very varied playing of these chords. So you get certain chords that are more prominent than others. Which is very nice, and with the drums you get something more lively. Now you'll notice that so far for these MIDI programmed sections, I didn't really use the bass offset, the multiplier. I did use the min and max when I wanted to. For example, let's make the entire thing a bit more subtle by lowering the max value of the randomization. Yeah, but I didn't really use the bass offset or the multiplier of the velocity, and that's because these are more meant for live playing. So I'm going to switch the camera to my keyboard so I can show you what I mean. Okay, so now that we have the camera set up on my keyboard, what I mean is that sometimes you want certain sounds when you're playing, but it can be a bit difficult with your MIDI keyboard because it isn't as sensitive. It usually just picks up the quiet notes and the loud notes. And anything in between is sort of like a guess. That's how I feel sometimes when I'm playing. So the bass offset and the multiplier can really help you achieve certain velocity levels that you want. So for example, with this felt piano, I wanted to play only the soft notes because in my opinion that sounds better. So when I set the multiplier to 0.3, that means that my maximum velocity is going to be 30% of the max velocity that I send. So even if I play really loudly, I just get the very soft notes. And this can really help with my solo, for example. I don't have to worry too much about playing loud notes accidentally. And if I wanted to play it the other way around and I wanted most of my notes to be very loud, I could, for example, set the bass offset to start at 40% velocity. So that's always added to my playing. So if I play anything that's above 60% of the velocity, it's going to be 100% velocity, which is very loud. Like so. So let's demonstrate. I'm going to try and play as soft as I can. And I can also do the same thing the other way around, which means that I'm going to play, no matter how hard I play, I'm only going to play at most at 60% velocity because I've reduced 40% of my velocity. We can also increase the minimum value by a tiny bit so that I don't play too quiet of a note. So I'm still going to play very quietly, and I'm going to increase the volume. And even if I play really loudly, it's just up to the medium layer velocity, which can be really nice in this case. So yeah, the multiplier can also help me achieve louder notes if I wanted to. For example, by setting it to twice as much, that means that once I reach 50% velocity, I've reached the maximum velocity. But the added value of the multiplier is that if I still play, like, for example, 2% velocity, I'm only going to get 4% velocity. So it isn't a base value increase, it's multiplying what I play. So as you can see, I can still reach very soft velocities. I just have to try harder, because once I get into the mid-range of the velocities, it's going to be very loud, like so. So yeah, this has been pretty much the first script that I've made, and it's going to be available as a download in the description below. I'll probably link it to my GitHub, so you can get new changes and bug fixes if I find bugs with the code that I've written. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you in the next video.